Good evening and welcome to everybody, and thank you so much for staying, those of you that did stay. Look around the room, it's a fantastic mixed audience, and this is what the UK is about. And I am really proud to be living in the UK, where you have got freedom of speech, or we should have freedom of speech, and we should have freedom of expression, and we should have freedom of thought, conscience and religion. And let's not forget Article 9 of the Human Rights Act. You know, we have got the Human Rights Act, but we must remember to uphold it. I come to you this evening to tell you a bit of a personal story. I was born in Pakistan, but I was born to Christian parents of Indian, Pakistani and European origin, so very mixed heritage. My parents saw the ravages of political corruption of religion. They saw what a divisive end of empire did to Pakistan and India. They came from that background. My father was in the Pakistan Royal Air Force. He was a squadron leader in the Pakistan Royal Air Force. He came to Britain because he was so upset by what had happened to the land in which he lived. When he came to Britain, he was promoted from the Pakistan Royal Air Force to a clerical officer in the city. He had to fight for his bits of bread every day. He and my mother soon realized that it did not matter that they had any pride in their religion or in their identity or ethnicity. What mattered was the colour of their skin. That is how they got discriminated against. And yes, they were part of the generation that met the notices in the windows that said no blacks, no Irish and no dogs. I grew up with racism all around me, and it's why I went into race equality work. And I bring you a message of solidarity from all of the organisations that I'm represented, particularly Operation Black Vote. Simon Woolley couldn't be here tonight, but he really wanted to send a message of support. The People's Centre in Leicester, which is run by Asian women, they sent a message of solidarity. The Black Londoners Forum, and all of the organisations which I've been associated with. Because what is really critical is that we are united, because I have seen what happens when we allow ourselves to be divided. I'm married into a Gujarati Hindu family, and so the mix goes on. And when we bring our children up, my eldest son is 18, and he's been stopped and searched 11 times in the last 2 months. 3 of those occasions openly because they thought he was a Muslim. And what we've said to all of our children is that never say you are not a Muslim. Be proud. And if they think you're a Muslim, say, yes, we are a Muslim, even if you're not. Because if you're being stopped because they mistake you for a Muslim. And what is wrong in that? You must stand up and be proud. So the message of solidarity I'm bringing to you this evening is because I think the message that the British government is taking to the country is the wrong one. And to use a British phrase, if I might, they've got it a bit arse about face. Sorry for the profanity. Because what I mean by that, the message that they're bringing is one of cohesion, integration and citizenship. And that agenda, if anybody knows, there is a commission at the moment called the Commission on Integration and Cohesion. Anybody heard of it? A few. I'm not surprised if you haven't heard of it, because it was set up about 3 months ago. It finishes in June 2007. It was not an appointed commission. They've just selected people to be on the commission. And what is its strapline? Tackling extremism. Why would a commission on cohesion and integration have a strapline of tackling extremism? What is the link? And the link has been made by many speakers this evening. The link seems to be that you will only be cohesed and integrated if you are assimilated into British values. Then you won't be a terrorist. That seems to be the link, and it's entirely wrong. Why has there never been a commission on the British National Party and the far right? They're the extremists that we need to tackle. And I also want to ask you the question. I'm going to quote some more surveys. In one Murray poll that the CRE commissioned, 60% of Muslims had non-Muslim friends, whereas 95% of white British people had no black friends, and 1 in 4 did not want to live next to black people. So you have to ask yourself the question, who is it that needs to cohese or integrate? That's where we need to put the emphasis. Most of communities, and one of the earlier speakers from UCU suggested that the ghettos that we really have in Britain, where there is 75% of one or more ethnicity, is mainly in white areas. Where you have many Indian communities or Muslim communities or Pakistan communities or any community living together in poor areas, it is largely because the economic equity is not there. The economic empowerment does not allow that mobility. That's what we need to be concentrating on, the structural and economic barriers to why we don't progress any more than we do. Because unemployment for Muslim communities is higher now than it was 30 years ago. In some areas, 70% of young people are unemployed in Muslim communities. So we need to pay our attention to that. And we should also be more afraid of men in grey suits. I'm sorry to the men in grey suits that are in the room, but those are if we wanted to concentrate on clothing, such as the whole hysteria around niqabs, hijabs and hoodies, then why don't we concentrate on grey suits? Because it seems to me that it is the people wearing the suits that have called for illegal wars, gone into illegal wars, and been responsible for the slaughter of thousands of innocent civilians. Why aren't we more afraid of grey suits? Because we're not afraid of grey suits, because I tell you what, we're not that shallow. We don't look at what people are wearing. We look at what's behind what they're wearing. We look at the policies. And when we look at them, we should get really afraid. That is what we should be afraid of. So we've done a survey at the 1990 Trust. We did a survey which Rahul Taraftar did, who's sitting in the back there, fantastic worker for the 1990 Trust. 1,500 respondents in 3 weeks, mainly from young Muslims, a right mixture of young men and young women, who 99% of them said, we do not want anything to do with terrorism, we do not want to back anything to do with terrorism, we don't want to know about any violence. There were many other questions that were asked, all telling a completely different story to what the Daily Mail, the Daily Telegraph, or any of those other papers would have you believe. So do not believe them. Go onto our website, www.blink.org.uk, have a look at the survey, read some really good news stories, and start to change the discourse in the UK. We will not tolerate this discourse of demonising, stigmatising, problematising Muslims, and with that everybody else, because my children and myself and my family and anybody else who looks like a Muslim will be the victim of this. And if you think that you can get away with not saying anything, you are very, very wrong. So I want to finish. I want to remind people of what Pastor Niemoller said long ago. When the Nazis came from the communists, I remained silent because I wasn't a communist. When they locked up the Social Democrats, I remained silent because I was not a Social Democrat. When they came for the trade unionists, I did not speak out. I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. They came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Protestant. And if we translate that into today, they came for Africans and Caribbeans about 10 years ago, and we didn't speak up enough. Then they are coming for Muslims and Asians right now, who used to be the goodies, if you remember. Yeah, they're coming for us now. And if we don't speak up now, there will be nobody left to speak for us when we need it. So please, remember Article 9 of the Human Rights Act. Everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. This right includes freedom to change religion or belief in freedom, either alone or in community with others, and in public or in private to manifest that belief, worship, teaching, practice and tolerance. Finally, let me just say that next Monday, we're taking this whole initiative forward. We're bringing race equality organisations from all over the UK, from Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, all of the different regions, to a Race and Faith Leadership Summit. We're holding it at the GLA because it was free, and it's going to be a free event in the evening between 6 and 9 for everybody to attend. All you've got to do is log on to our website and we will register you. And it is an alternative to the CRE convention, which is being held on the same day and the next day, which costs £700 to get in if you're from the commercial sector, £350 if you're from the voluntary sector. So that convention, in our view, is not intended for the people who are at the wrong end of discrimination and who are living in poverty. It is going to only reach people who can pay to get into that convention. There is one seminar on religion, and that seminar is called Unifier or Divider. That's the only thing. It doesn't deal with religious hatred or religious legislation. So please come along, and there's also a demonstration in the morning outside the Queen Elizabeth Conference Centre here to read a eulogy for the CRE, because the CRE is dying. It's going into the Commission for Equalities and Human Rights. And with the new chair that's being appointed, we have reason to worry that the political philosophy for race equality and faith equality is going to be one of integration and cohesion. We need to change that back to institutional racism, institutional religious discrimination. Thank you.